The NHLPA has issued a statement. Why don't I read it here? The NHLPA officials Marty Walsh, Ron Hainsey, and Don Zavello met with the NHL earlier today at the league's New York City office regarding the matter involving Mike Babcock. During this meeting, we provided the NHL with an update on our ongoing review. We do not have any further comment at this time, end quote. Great. So that basically says nothing, but it does acknowledge the meeting. It acknowledges that the review is continuing. And obviously they updated Bettman and company on what they've found or what they're seeking and where they stand.
Sounds like, here's what we know, act accordingly.
Yeah, and like the PA does not have the power to fire Mike Babcock, right? Like it's not within their jurisdiction. I'm not even sure they can demand it, but they can certainly put forth whatever they found, and they can definitely make their voices heard in terms of what they like or don't like or what have you in representing the players. And as a result, the league can take that information and do with it what they decide to do. I mean,
well, this is an we'll use the word investigation. They've looked into it, and that's you show their findings, and the league has to take a look at it. And if this is an ongoing investigation too, whether they, go, hey, we need to see if this happened on other teams and all of that type of stuff. Who knows? Like there's a lot of layers, it seems like, to this. So it's unfortunate because you can comment on it, but until the verdict, we'll call it, comes out, it's a lot of just hearsay and speculation.
Yeah, right, exactly. And we've heard from two players publicly, but you haven't heard from any other players. That doesn't mean other players, are making complaints or issuing complaints. That could be happening, but I think if you're Columbus, the position you found yourself in is, let's say there is a player or multiple players on the Columbus Blue Jackets or within their system that were uneasy with the situation. Now what do you do? Because Babcock probably knows which players they are by now, right? And is he going to hold that against them? Are they going to feel uncomfortable now because they think Babcock knows that they've decided to pop up and speak?
That's why somebody like a coach would do something like this, because he wants to hold something over you. He wants, just like Mitch Marner, when Mitch Marner, he asked him to say, write down who you think's the worst conditioned people on the team. And he did it in confidence, and he was kind of under the gun to do it, which was completely weird and completely bogus. And then he screws him over and reads it out loud of who he picked. So this is just something, this is another avenue for that. It's, let me see your pictures, and if I see one goofy, you're out drinking with your buddies, you're drunk, you're passed out or whatever, you hold it against the guy. You don't care enough. You don't take it seriously enough. I saw it. This is the same crap.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, like, let's say this blows over, or the PA's like, we don't have enough information to supply you, or the NHL's like, sorry, whatever you have found is not something we're willing to accept. We're not going to move off Babcock or force Columbus to do this. So then it all, ostensibly blows over. Yet Babcock and Player X, like, it's understood that there was an issue. Like, Player X didn't appreciate it, and Babcock knows Player X didn't appreciate it. How's that going to work?
Well, how about this, guys? Like, if you screw up, go and sit down with that person. Say, I screwed up. Mm-hmm. Like people make mistakes and stuff. And listen, I'm not defending any situation because I'm not privy to the information. But it's more about, everyone's worried, well, how will the relationship move forward? This guy's in a position of power. We've clearly seen things trending in a different direction of people speaking up, doing all of that type of stuff. So, if anything, Mike Babcock, if he gets an opportunity and knows that he screwed up, like, you go and sit down with that person and say, I'm sorry, I screwed up. How do we rectify this?
Come back from this is
you're right. That's the thing. I don't know if they come back from it.
And you said blowing. I don't think this blows over, Hayes.
No,
I don't think he makes it. I don't think he makes it through this.
He may not. I'm just at this point we don't know. At this point, it's not determined yet what's going to happen. And if he is the coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets, right? There could be something in the air. And if there's a player that has an issue with something that's happened, I mean, how's that relationship going to work moving forward? That's what Columbus has to be thinking. Forget just where the PA comes at it from, where the NHL comes at it from.
What a stench in the locker room.
That's what I'm saying.
If he ends up staying, what a stench.
Right.
What a stench.
Here's Chris Johnston, our TSN Hockey Insider, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. We just read the statement from the NHLPA. Not much in that statement, CJ, but an admission that they met with the league, that the investigation is ongoing. What do you read into that, and where do you see this Mike Babcock situation going from here?
Well, I think the fact that it's ongoing, still is relevant here because I think a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen. What's the result? Well, we might not get a result until there's more diligence done at a number of levels. And, from the NHLPA's end of things, they don't necessarily have jurisdiction on a matter like this, but obviously they're, getting together all the information they can from, members of the union, players around the league. I think that includes players that have played for Mike Babcock in the past, not just those that are members of the Blue Jackets organization now that have had dealings with, Mike Babcock over the summer here, and, trying to see if there's any information that might be relevant to this issue to be shared. And so, it feels still like, as much as we are waiting to find out what becomes of this, I think there's still a few more things that are needing to go on behind the scenes. And so that's kind of my takeaway from the union's stance. And then obviously that meeting they had this morning in New York City, which interestingly was pre-planned for another issue and, became a little bit more about the Babcock stuff, was an opportunity for Marty Walsh and Ron Hainsey to share what they've learned here in the last few days from the Blue Jackets.